lot of people don't know that America lends itself money. The Treasury asks for a loan, the Federal Reserve, which is America's central bank, just prints the money and hands it over. It's an absolutely mental system when you think about it. Imagine you were spending more money than you earned, and in order to come up with that shortfall, you printed money. You had a magic money printer. I mean, you'd be in jail, but if you're a politician, you'd become Treasury Secretary. Anyway, the US did that for years until it stopped. The Fed's own holdings of US debt went from 2.8 trillion in 2015 up to 6.3 trillion by 2022, which is the money printing everyone remembers during the pandemic. Since then, they've run it back down to 4.7 trillion. So they've lowered their holding of US debt. That's over 1.5 trillion of American government debt that the Fed has pushed back out the door and into somebody else's hands. So this whole borrowing money off yourself thing is crazy. Think about it like this. I borrowed $1,000 off of my mate Bob. Bob wants his money back, but I can't afford to pay him back right now. So I go to ask my friend Mark, Jim, Larry, and Mo for $250 each to pay back Bob. Actually, you know what? Hang on. I've got this wrong. Bob is me. I borrowed money from myself, and now I'm asking Mark, Jim, Larry, and Mo to help pay me back. I know this is confusing, and it should be, because it makes no sense. The whole thing is mental. It also causes massive problems like inflation being one of those big problems. Again, I keep reaching for real world examples, but imagine that you were spending more money than you had. So you printed money to make up for the shortfall. But not only you, all of your neighbors are doing the same thing. Everyone has a magic money printer. Now, everyone has a ton of money, which means that prices of everything around you start going up because everyone has more money to spend. So that's inflation. You have more money, but the money is losing value. Right? The same thing happens when the US prints money to lend itself money. So the Fed stopped printing money, at least temporarily, and America had to go out and find another lender. And it found one that has taken on $21 trillion of American debt without even realizing. Lender number 3. Who is lender number 3? You've probably guessed this by now. It's you. And you didn't necessarily decide to lend the American government money. Your pension did it. So did the safe cash account you moved your money into when rates went up. And this is bad, by the way. It's really bad because US debt has become a toxic asset. Because despite them paying you interest at the end of the 10 or 30-year term, you end up behind. No one else wants this crap, so they pile it onto you without you even knowing it. I'll show you the maths that proves this shortly, and I'll also show you how to protect yourself. But let's start with how they are forcing this debt onto you. First is through money market funds. If you've never heard of them, I'll explain. You hand your cash over, the fund pools it with thousands of other people's, then lends that pile to the US government. The interest comes back to you minus their cut, and you can pull your money out whenever you like, which is why they get marketed as the safe place to keep your money when you're not investing. And they kind of are, to be fair. They are fairly safe. And chances are you've got your money in one right now. I'll give you a few examples. It's the cash that sat in your investment account when you haven't invested it yet. So it's the money that you've paid in, but you haven't bought anything with it yet. If somebody manages your money for you, a financial advisor or a wealth manager, it's the cash that they are holding on your behalf between making decisions about where to put it. It's the safe option in a workplace pension, the one that people pick when they don't want to take on too much risk. And it's the savings product paying you a few percent that looks and feels exactly like a bank account, but it's not quite a bank account. In every one of those scenarios, nobody leaves your money sitting there doing nothing. It gets parked into a money market fund, so it earns you a little bit of interest. And you just see it on a statement as your cash balance. What it actually is a loan to the US government. 11 years ago, these funds held around about $500 billion of US debt. Today, it's $3.43 trillion. So that's your savings and your spare cash, but they've gone after your pension as well. $7.6 trillion of American government debt is sat inside the federal trust funds. That's Social Security and government employee retirement money, essentially. A pension fund lending to the government that owes the pension. Another example of the government borrowing money from itself. So they didn't stop completely with this whole borrowing from yourself thing. And it isn't just those two, by the way. Mutual funds, the pooled funds your investments probably sit in, went from $709 billion of US debt to $1.69 trillion. Private pension funds also doubled. State and local government pensions nearly tripled. It's all on the data sheet. Every single holder, what they had in 2015, what they are holding now. Go and find out which one you're in. And that's how it happens. It's not some big event. It is them loading on as much of the government's debt onto you as they can, a bit at a time, while you get told that it's the safe option. It will be a big event eventually, and when that happens, you're going to be the one that's left holding the bag. By the way, I put together a free retirement guide, how to retire before 2036, 6 steps, everything I'd do if I was starting again at 40 with nothing. No hype, no nonsense. It's free to grab. There's a link below. Check it out.